welcome to the May 21st, 2017 Guitar Blog episode on how to use the blues scale for lead guitar. Basically how to join the scale patterns along the neck. Because a lot of guitar players learn the blues scale early on in a couple of positions, maybe like 12th position and 5th position or something like that. And this can work for a period of time. However, at some point you're going to want to take the scale more across the guitar neck, playing through multiple positions. Now, there are all types of scale layouts that can help you with this. I'll cover some of them in the lesson, but the best way to really lock this idea down in your memory is to work out some nice blues lead ideas that do that process. Now, once you can take some of these shapes and get some effective licks working with them, you'll not only remember the ideas longer, but you'll also have some nice phrases to apply during your next blues jam. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over 4 guitar licks, and we're going to have access to a handout if you're a member of the site. If you're not a member, you can join at creativeguitarstudio.com. If you want to just check it out, there's a free members area. You don't have to pay anything. Just come into the site, check out what's going on with all the free material. If you want to take the courses and get the handouts for videos like this one, it's a short sign-up process to get in, and the fees are really inexpensive. Plus, the feedback I'm getting from people is that it's like really attending a guitar school. It's very concise. It's very step-by-step. There's study units that you go through, and they're all leading one topic and one idea into the next, forming a really well-balanced, well-rounded way of studying the instrument. So if you want to attend a guitar school online at your own leisure and really get all this information together, join up at creativeguitarstudio.com. Let's get on with the lesson, though. I want to show you these first few licks and then move on from there and go further with this idea. All right, before we head to the studio and start running through a bunch of guitar licks that I have for you that utilize this concept of joining scales more along the neck for blues lead guitar, I wanted to introduce a system for you that's using a couple of principles you may have come across before if you study some of my other videos online. And it's just the different neck region positions. Now, what this does for you, can see here, it takes advantage of the concept of how the guitar is generally 5 frets long, and it just kind of repeats along the guitar fingerboard. So you can tell here we've got open to 5th position to 10th, and then 10th to 15th, and that's covering the whole span of the guitar neck. Now, with this idea in mind, what we can do is take something really simple. I'm going to start here with just a standard E blues scale that's located off a 2nd position 4th string. You can see there's the blue dots indicating the E tones, and then the rest of the tones that are laid out on the black dots. Those are your E blues scale tones. Now, if you started with this pattern down off of the 2nd position and got this together on the low region, it wouldn't be very difficult at all to move up into the next region of the neck with that same layout. And you can be working now within the middle of the guitar neck with pretty much the same layout. You can tell the 3rd string, we've had those notes move back a little bit because of the tuning difference between 3rd to 2nd string. You can tell they've been moved over. And, if you get those two together, they're very similar. They'll take no time at all to get those together. Then you can move a little bit further up the neck and start utilizing a little bit different pattern here. This is sort of the upper portion of the standard blues scale a lot of people will learn early on. A lot of times people use it or learn it in the center of the neck around A minor or A blues. So, if you add that one into the mix, now you've got an upper region, you've got a mid-range region, and you've got the lower region. You've got quite a few areas of the neck here to start going and jamming out on and playing over progressions for practice. So that's kind of like phase 1, but I want to show you another level to this. If you add in, I'm just going to add in a sort of low to mid region here, and this is going to be a new coverage of tones that you can use some of the pattern of the low region with some of the pattern of the mid, add in a few tones on top. Now you've got a little bit different coverage with some more blues access and a way to connect better from the low region of the neck over to the mid region. So just a new batch of tones that you can start studying a little bit and add in as sort of a connecting phrase. Now you can do the same thing up between the mid to the upper region, and you can tell a simple phrase. It's actually the same phrase of notes that we did have over off of the 5th string when we were doing the mid region. So it's really the same layout. You can tell as you're looking at the two of them overlaid there. It's the same general access to tones. Now, really easy way doing this, and also a way that helps you gain a lot of coverage of the neck. Look how much of the neck now you can move laterally across and begin joining all your lines and licks and ideas by just starting in a simple process. I'm going to roll back to kind of phase 1 here, where we just had a small group of notes starting in the low region, then moving along the neck, transferring relatively the same batch of notes over there. We also had that connecting phrase, which again was the same series of tones. But when you add in all of the other patterns that we had started with and used as connecting layouts, you've got a lot of coverage now. You're one step closer to being able to see the fingerboard and use the fingerboard, visualize everything as one big friendly place, not just for blues scale, but really for any scale that you happen to be practicing. You can do this with major scales, minor scales, modes. You can use an idea similar to this for arpeggios. There's a lot of mileage that you can get on just approaching things from a very simple standpoint. Almost you might as well say like a three-step standpoint, where you begin by understanding what's going on with regions. That you have a low region to your fingerboard, mid region, upper region, and then within each of those regions you can place some scale pattern concepts and get yourself going on a couple of layouts for just understanding how things fit within that area. Then fill in the gaps. That's kind of like step 3. You get to the point where in between these shapes you can add a few more tones, and now look at the coverage that you have. You can start looking at playing much more laterally, connecting the fingerboard regions with this scale in a much more flowing way. And as you get some of your guitar licks together and some of your moves and understanding how you want to slide or hammer on or shift from one area to the next, you're going to really start finding that this is quite friendly under your fingers, and you'll be playing a lot better, more lateral solos in no time at all. So now that you understand the principles that we're shooting for in the lesson plan, let's head over to the studio, and I want to begin showing you some guitar licks that apply this exact formula into the blues scale along the guitar fingerboard. So let's head to the studio next. All right, so this is example number 1. It's a really fun, jazzy, funky blues scale idea. So we're operating like pretty long range on the neck, 10th position to around 3rd position. So let's just walk through this thing. I think it's important to understand how all of it's going to work, and then you can sort of take it, make it your own, or even just dump it into different keys, try different ideas with it. So we're going to start up high there on the 10th fret of the 1st guitar string. We're going to catch that high D up there. It's going to be played over top of a D9 chord, so we're just taking the root right off the top there. So there's that high D coming around there to a C tone, so the flat 7 tone of the D dominant chord. Then we're going to do a bend on an F note up at 13th fret, 1st string, coming back around again to that 10th fret. And then we're walking down the neck. We're going to have 13, 10, 9. There's a blues tone right there, and then you're going to have that 12th fret coming in on 3rd string, hit the 9 again on 2nd string, and slide it down to a 6, so to an F tone. So it's kind of a big, position shift there, because we're heading from around 9th fret into the 6th fret. So just make sure your targeting is really good with that slide. Make it down into there. Then you're going to do a pull-off idea, 8 to 6 on the 2nd string. Then walk down 7 and 7 again, 3rd string to 4th string. Cool little guitar lick idea there between the 2nd to the 4th guitar string there. 8, 6, and then 7 on 3rd string, 7 on the 4th string. Get into an A tone there. Then you're going to have a little bit of a tweak, kind of like a quarter step bend idea on the 6th fret. And that's going to be on the 2nd string there. So it's kind of like an F note coming a little towards the F sharp there. And then we're heading around right to the tonic of the scale there, the D. And then after that D tone, we're going to do some grace note hammer-on ideas, 5th fret to 6th fret. And then we're going to do 3rd fret to 5th fret. And then we're going to have our F tone coming around to a C from 4th string to the 5th string, and then walking up into that C sharp. And then we're going to have the D tone. So the C sharp's a bit, out of context. It's a chromatic tone. So So, it just kind of adds to that jazzy, funky flavor of everything. So when you're coming into the lick, though, also something I forgot to mention is we have pickup notes that are coming into the line. So you're kind of counting it in like this, 1, 2, 3. So that 10th and 13th fret that come in right away, that's going to happen on the beat of 4 of your first count in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So you just have to work out, how that's going to count in, spend some time. If you're not familiar with pickup notes and you're not exactly sure how to get those into your playing, spend a little bit of time counting and, being a little bit more aware of your timing and your rhythmic meter, and you'll be able to start getting them in no problem. It's kind of nice to have those sometimes in a line, you just bring it in before the actual count, comes along. Now, as far as the underlying chord, it's just a D dominant 9 chord that I'm playing. Right in the 4th position there, built off the 5th string. The root is the D on the 5th string, 5th fret. And then we got an F sharp coming up after that. And we got a C tone and an E, and then we're up top here on an A. And I'm just, in the loop that I have on my loop pedal, just using the Ditto looper today. And I've just got that thing going. Give it a kind of nice jazzy funky beat there, and then you can start practicing this line that I have for you in example number 1. So lots of stuff to do there, but we're not done yet. We're going to take a short break, come back in just a moment, and I got a second example for you. This one's going to be kind of more like a classic rock blues scale run. It's going to go from 7th position around into 2nd position. So let's come back with that in a moment. When it comes to online guitar lessons, there's no place better than CreativeGuitarStudio.com. General membership to the site is always free, and paid memberships to access our step-by-step beginner, intermediate, and advanced guitar programs are offered in reasonable monthly and annual packages. Skype lessons are also available if you need more specific instruction one-on-one to discuss the finer details of your guitar playing. Sign up today at CreativeGuitarStudio.com. Well, this is a fun one. It's kind of a classic rock, funky rock, I don't know, Lenny Kravitz kind of jam or whatever you want to call it. But there's no doubt that lots of guitar players, Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, we could just go on and on, have used really interesting ways of joining together scale patterns from the notes of the blues scale. And here an example too. I've taken a look at how an E blues scale can be used in the lower region of the neck here to play over the harmony of sort of a funky Jimi Hendrix E7 sharp 9 chord. So we're going to take notice of how the scale patterns are using wider intervals and, covering the neck with some greater distances when we're working within a position. So what this is going to do, though, is it's going to create a kind of a noticeable difference in the sound of the musical line. I'm starting off here on the 2nd string doing an 8th fret to 5th fret pull-off. And then I'm grabbing over to the 7th fret 3rd string D note, and then coming back around to the E, because this is, after all, an E7 sharp 9 chord. So I just have that pull off, get the D tone, come back around to the E there again, and then there's going to be a hammer on pull off idea on the 3rd string, 4th fret, 7th fret, back and forth there. You can probably, for both of those, the 8-5 and that 7-4 idea, you're probably going to want to use your small finger. Just it's a better feel, better reach on the neck. And you're going to drop down the neck a little bit there into the next idea, which is going to be 2nd position, 3rd string. We're going to have 2nd and 3rd frets going on there. So following down the neck, we've got 7 and 4, and then we've got 2 and 3. And then we're going to move over to the 4th string. We'll have a 2nd fret, 4th string note, and then we're going to slide going from 5 to 7 on the 5th string. So like a D to an E moving up. We were just hitting an E there on the 4th string, and then we're sliding, D to E on the 5th string. And then we're going to have G back to the E moving across, and we're going to get an A next. So we'll have, you can hear that little chromatic idea again. We're running through the blues scale there, getting the A, the B flat, and the B natural. Because the blues scale, if you play it right in that region, you can get some nice sounds, and that's what we're doing. We're kind of wrapping the lick up with that, blues scale line, the chromatic portion of it. coming up around to that D tone there. So really good ideas happening there. We got this pull off idea in the front end, targeting into the root, hammer on pull off stuff going after that on third string. Then we're moving from the E tone, moving forward, going from D to E, and then we're having the G to the E, and then moving forward, A, B flat, B natural, up around into the D there. And then the D is the flat 7, and that's really pulling out that dominant 7 sound of that E 7 sharp 9 chord. So lots of nice stuff there. Okay, one more time. All right, so that's example 2. It's kind of like I said, sort of classic rock, funky rock, almost like Hendrix, Lenny Kravitz, that kind of thing. So have some fun with that one. I'm sure you'll be able to take a lot of those ideas into some of your own licks and runs across the neck. And that brings us to the end of part 1. Now, coming up next in part 2, what we're going to be looking at is I've got some jazzy swing stuff that I'm going to move into. Blues scale runs around sort of a jazz swing feel, a lot of, sort of shuffle meters swing feel. And we're also going to be looking at using the blues scale to highlight dominant 7th chords. I'll have a couple of different dominant ideas off of E flat that we're going to work with. And we're going to use basically what you often would refer to as filler licks around those chords. So it's going to be kind of interesting stuff. That lesson plan is found in the members area over at creativeguitarstudio.com, where if you pull a membership, you're going to get access to all this stuff. But on top of that, the most important thing is if you are working on guitar, if you're studying guitar, you're watching this video, so you're probably into guitar. But if you're studying and you're trying to get better, I've got a course online, and it's really getting great feedback. I've had this membership site now for almost a year, and there's a lot of members that are emailing me in and saying this is the best thing they've ever come across. It's really step by step. It's well organized. The plan is concise. It's like going to a guitar school. It's all organized, and you're doing a step-by-step course where there's chapters. You come to the end of sections. You're doing reviews. You're going into new material, and it's all laid out in a very structured manner. So if you want to really get good, get your chops up, study a course like this, it's going to be the best benefit that you've ever had. So anyway, I hope to catch up with you next in the members area over at creativeguitarstudio.com. The Blues Guitar Styles ebook is a masterclass course covering a huge amount of information on the blues style. With 8, 12, and 16 bar blues progressions, classic blues styles, plus all the important chord patterns. There's over 50 pages of information, including sections on blues techniques like slide, alternate tuning, and bending. This ebook has everything the guitar player needs for a solid foundation in blues guitar, including 27 MP3 audio tracks for easy at-home study. Blues Guitar Styles is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com. Thanks for watching part 1 of the lesson. Be sure to sign up for a membership at creativeguitarstudio.com to watch part 2, where we'll study blues scale in jazz swing and how to create highlights for dominant 7th chords. Plus, as a member, you'll also be able to download the handout for this lesson along with many other professionally presented guitar lessons. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up next in the members area.